provosts, deans, heads of departments, faculty and staff of Babcock University, Zycom graduating class, great Babcock University students, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the Convocation Lecture. This notable day witnesses the onset of the week-long series of activities marking the 2023 Convocation Ceremony of Babcock.
President, Vice Chancellor, Senior Vice President, Academic and Administration, our University Bursar, the University Registrar, all Associate Presidents, all HODs, all Provosts and Deans, all HODs and all lecturers, all guardians today, and all the visitors we have here present. Please welcome with us the guest lecturer for the 2023 Babcock University second graduation. Guest lecturer, Professor Peter Okebukola.
The President, Vice Chancellor, and Chair of this lecture, family and friends of the graduates, and above all, dear graduates. You can see how I've structured the protocol. After recognizing the president, president is president, number one. And then, if you look at the pyramid, at the bottom of it, where we have our students, if our students graduating and still in course were not here, we'll have an empty Babcock University. Today, we are celebrating the 2023 graduating class. And I said graduates. I will tell you what you already know. The difference between a graduate and a graduate. The graduate is someone you deck in your robe. On Sunday, you walk into the amphitheater where you will be awarded your degrees, and your tassel, that's this thing, dangling here, is on your right. I'm telling you what you already know. When the chancellor of the university says you are standing up, that's the College of Arts or Business, he says, I admit you all. There is the twinkling of an eye, the rapture, twinkling of an eye. That is exactly what happens. When the chancellor says, I admit you all, you automatically transform from being a graduate to a graduate. And that moves your tassel, you can then move your tassel from your right to the left. So as you can see, my tassel is on my left because I'm a graduate of Babcock University, a great university. Let me now respectfully recognize the Deputy Vice Chancellors, other principal officers of this university, and the members of SEDI, academic staff, all staff of this great university that had contributed to the success of the ceremonies we started 2 days ago and which will end on Sunday. It's a huge delight to be here at Babcock after several intervening years. Between when I was here, about 5 years, and today, the difference that I noticed is positive and large. In physical development, academic development, quality of staff, and quality of graduates, this university has made stunning progress. Professor Ademola S. Tayo, the President Vice Chancellor of this university, has been outstanding, and I commit him to the throne of grace for God's showers of blessings, to keep tumbling down on you like rain. I liken him to still water that runs deep in the horizon of quality university education, carrying the banner of Babcock University flying high, very high. He's not a noise-making vice chancellor. I interact with vice chancellors almost on a daily basis. I will know the noisy ones. But he's not a noise-making vice chancellor, but he's a performing vice chancellor. And one of the dividends of his performance, in concert, of course, the council, senate, and all staff of this university, is the production of another batch of quality graduates for the Nigerian and global economies. On Sunday, July the 30th, the Zycon batch will be released to conquer the world, recognizing that Zycon, a natural gemstone that is highly resistant to weathering, attests that you will weather all storms in your lives. The Lord will not suffer thy foot to be moved. This morning, I inquired from the National Universities Commission, the regulatory agency, about the standing of Babcock University. The data shared with me confirmed that Babcock is easily in the top tier of the 263 universities we have in Nigeria today. Tangibly, you are the best. Virtually, you are the best. You are currently running 37 undergraduate programs, and none whatsoever has been denied accreditation. Only one is in interim status, making you score 97.3%. This is laudable. President Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, about 2 years ago, I encountered one of the PhD graduates in Ikeja. And that's the person of Dr. Adini Jukutu. Can you stand up, Adini Jukutu? I encountered him in Ikeja. Please sit down, yes. I inquired about the university where he was undergoing his doctoral training. He said Babcock. I said, I spent about an hour grilling him about the methodology of delivering doctoral education in Babcock. By the time I was through with him, I came to the conclusion that if I were ranking doctoral schools in Nigeria with respect to rigor of training and quality of graduates, Babcock will be among the top 5. Chairman, our graduates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for this convocation lecture, I was asked to speak on from tangible to virtual reality, redefining the Nigerian university system. A demystification of the title, especially the preludes of tangible and virtual reality, which is an IT phenomenon, could read the Nigerian university system, past, present, and future. The past and the present are encoded in what we can call the tangible, while the future presents the virtual reality. I will invest proportionately the least time on the past and more on the present, and the most time on the future, where we will don our virtual reality goggles to see where the future foretells. Of course, I will not fail to make incursion into the concept of virtual reality that the President, Vice Chancellor mentioned in his welcome remarks, which you will find in the fuller version of the lecture. A look back. Let us look at the rearview mirror and glimpse the past of the university system. This is particularly instructive for our graduates and other students of this great university who probably have feeble knowledge of the history of university education globally and in Nigeria. The deadline now is 1080. 1080. And the first universities have been established in Morocco and Egypt. Now let's swing to Europe. Bologna, University of Bologna, was established in 1088. As I'm speaking, please be doing some simple subtraction of 1999, when we were established here as a university, with those years of these universities. 1088, Bologna. So you hear of Oxford University. Oxford University was established in 1096. Salamanca University in 1134. This came on the scene. Let's move now to North America, and we'll go to US and Harvard, where I had some opportunity of studying. Harvard was established in 1636. Now, we move back to Africa, where the following universities, indeed, the history of university education in the world traces the origin to Africa. Al-Karoun in Fez in Morocco was established in 859 AD. Al-Azhar University, where I visited several times, in Egypt, was established in 972 AD. Furabe College, University of Sierra Leone, in 1827. University of Cape Town, that's always leading in the ranking of universities in Africa, was established in 1908. So somebody was established, or an institution was established in 1908, and you were established in 1999. And you think you can very suddenly overtake that. Yes, of course, with some tweaking of your methodology, of your processes, that can be achieved. I'm just giving you these days to let you know how far back university education had gone, and how new we are, like toddlers in the Nigerian university system. University of Algiers in Algeria, 1909. We'll come to Nigeria, to West Africa. The Ashby Commission triggered the establishment of what we can call the early bird universities in Anglophone Africa, that's English-speaking Africa. Ibadan, University of Ibadan, 1948, like yesterday. University of Ghana in Legon, 1948, same year. The University of Ibadan opened the womb and can be rightly described as the first fruit of the Nigerian university system. By 1999, one great university, although you have history dating back to 1959, but 1999, one great university was established. The name of that university is Babcock University. 3 of them were licensed the same day. Today, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, July 25th, 2023, there are 263 universities that are members of the Nigerian university system family, made up of 54 federal universities, 61 state universities, and 148 private universities. You know, this is a lecture, so you are going to do an exam. You better be making notes. There are going to be a test after this lecture. The world over, you may wish to find out how many universities do we have in the world today. There are slightly over 31,000 universities in the world today, with about 3,000, actually 2,825 in Africa. So the harvest is now very, very rich. So walk with me on the journey for about 1,000 years on the quality of university education. It was a glorious past. As was mentioned, I got into the University of Ibadan in 1970. At the same University of Ibadan that I went to in 1970, I left that university in 1973. I graduated in 1973. It's completely different. for University of Ibadan that we have today. A lot of positive improvements and not so positive. The same applies to many of our universities. But University of Ibadan still remains an excellent flagship for the African higher education horizon. Teachers and students demonstrated impressive scholarship. You know, about, that was 2003, while I was Executive Secretary of National Universities Commission, my late friend, Professor Babcock, who was the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, asked me to come speak with the management and staff of UNILAG that they want to keep being a world-class university. So I said to my friend and brother, Professor Babcock, oh, world-class university? Do you know the definition of that? He said, of course he knows. I said, I'm going to give you 2 indicators of world-class universities. The first is that you walk into the class of a world-class university. You see Nigerian students, you see Americans, you see South Africans, you see Chinese, you see Australians. That's a world-class university. Also, do you have such diversity in your university? Sky says, hey, well, we're approaching it. Fine. The second is that you go to the department and you look at the staff offices, you look at the name plaques on the doors of the offices. You find that this office is inhabited by a scholar from Britain, another one from Germany, another one from Ukraine, another one from Russia. It's good I'm mentioning some of these. Because in University of Ibadan, we had lecturers from almost all the major regions of the world. So I asked him, sir, if I go to any department in that university today, that was there, 2003, am I going to have some German professors teaching the university? Am I going to have some Australian, some Kenyan, and all of that? So he said, yes, we're going to have some of them like that. But you see, the scholarship at that time was impressive in terms of, broadly, in terms of those who are teaching and those who are learning. The industrial revolutions were driven largely by research exploits from the ivory tower. We are now witnessing the 5th industrial revolution, forecasted into the 6th revolution for the future, which will be driven largely by AI. And the universities are poised to keep expanding the frontiers of knowledge for the betterment of humanity. Let me dig in slightly deeper in the Nigerian story. The Nigerian university system is just 75 years old, and it has a checkered history. 1948, University College Ibadan. 2 years after independence, the country had 5 universities owned by each of the 3 regions, with the then Western region having 3. The increase in oil revenue in the mid-1970s, coupled with the need to forge national unity following the end of the Civil War, influenced the creation of a national system of higher education. This was achieved through the reconstitution of the National Universities Commission into an autonomous body charged with the additional responsibilities and powers in 1974. The development laid the framework for the takeover of all the regional universities in 1975. The widespread agitation for an expansion of access to university education and increased high level of national human resource requirement and technological development contributed greatly to the establishment of what we have now called the 2nd generation and other specialized universities of agriculture, technology, recently of education, of medicine. and a military university, that's the NDA. The placement of higher education under the concurrent legislative list in the 1979 Constitution allowed state governments to establish universities. Now, focusing on narrowing to private sector participation in university education. This commenced during the Second Republic. However, in the absence of proper guidelines for their establishment, they all turned out to be universities only in name. People thought that, 1999 was when we started to have private universities in Nigeria. No. We had private universities established before 1984. There were 24 private universities that were established before 1999. But all that were established between 1980 and 1983 were abolished by the federal government in 1984 by Buhari administration. Those universities were closed down. It was 9 years later, in 1993, that another law, which allowed the establishment of private universities and spelled out procedures for such, was promulgated. By 1999, the first set of private universities, including Babcock, received their operating licenses. To further open access to university education, a National Open University was established in 1983. It was closed shortly after and reopened in 2001 by the Obasanjo administration to offer education through open and distance learning mode. Let's look at the story today. I said we'll take the past and the present as a cluster and then take the virtual reality, the future, to be next. The past 3 decades have witnessed significant changes within the university system in Nigeria. Notable among such changes are the increase in the number of universities and programs offered in these institutions. In 2021, there were over 6,073 programs with academic staff strength of about 69,000 across 144 Nigerian universities. That's 2021 data. However, the greatest change has been the explosion in student population and the number of aspirants seeking university education. The total student enrollment in all Nigerian universities as of December 2022. Let's take the 1962 figure. In 1962, we had about 2,000 students all over. By 2022, we had 2.8 million students in the Nigerian university system. And based on the data from the State of University Education in Nigeria, for 2021, a total of about 1,900 full-time undergraduate and postgraduate students were enrolled. The top 10 universities in terms of enrollment, I provide a table here which shows them. Naturally, the National Open University of Nigeria had the highest enrollment. University of Maiduguri next, Ahmadu Bello University, Federal University of Technology in Minna, and the rest. We have a table which shows the top 10 in terms of enrollment. Now, when we break this by ownership, we find you'll find that, I have another table here, that 57% of the total enrollment in the Nigerian university system we have in federal universities. That's about 1.1 million. The state universities, 625,000. And the private universities, a little drop of 7%. That data, that graph has not changed significantly. And the reasons are well known. When I took a tour of this campus today, and I felt so amazed about the growth of this university. And the Vice Chancellor told me, President Vice Chancellor said, oh yes, they have an enrollment close to about 12,000, and I felt quite impressed with that they are hoping to keep it at that cap. Did you know that Harvard University that we are singing his name all over since 1636. President Chancellor, since 1636, Harvard University had not exceeded about 18,000 students. Harvard, 18,000. And MIT has not exceeded 14,000 students. So what I foresee in the next 15, 20 years is that Babcock University will be rubbing shoulders with Harvard. Harvard will be coming here to see the great things that are happening in terms of delivery, curriculum delivery, in terms of the quality of staff, in terms of the quality of students that we have here. So we also have a percentage of total enrollment by geopolitical zone. You may be interested in knowing that the North Central total population of students in the Nigerian university system, North Central appropriated 23%, Northeast 10.6%, Northwest 14.6%, Southeast 11.8%, South-South 17.3%, and Southwest 22.2%. Now, the staffing thing we also have here, the top 10 universities with, in terms of number of staff. University of Nigeria, Nsukka, #1 with 9,300. University of Calabar, 8,350. Ahmadu Bello, and the rest that you have here. Top 10 in terms of, okay, the first one is teaching and non-teaching. This other one is about teaching staff, which follows almost like the same pattern. The universities with the highest number of professors, University of Nigeria, Nsukka is the highest as of 2021, with 567 full professors. Ahmadu Bello University, 480, and it goes on and on. Female professors, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, 161, and the rest you have on here. Highest number of female professors, percentage of first-class graduates. So, small is beautiful. When you get them small like that, you are able to have a ratio, teacher-student ratio that is good, that is tolerable. So you have this percentage of first-class graduates in 2021. You have Hallmark University, 33%, Coal City University, Koladaisi University, Anchor University. As you can notice, they are largely private universities. Not that, and I keep telling people, not that quality is lowered. Not that the scores are just handed out to the students, but the students work for it, the staff work for it, and because of the small number, it's easy to get quality to run very, very high. We're now looking at the system-wide performance in teaching. On account of time, I will just scrape the surface of what I have here. So what is being said here, taken from the 2021 State of University Education in Nigeria, is that when you enter a classroom in a typical Nigerian university, what you're likely to find, extrapolating for a 2021 result, is that the lecture mode is predominant. And not more than 45% of what the timetable provision is for practicals, is practicals that are conducted. And about 2/3 of the universities deliver lectures through technology-mediated teaching tools and some relevant, innovative multimedia. Listed some of the multimedia materials here. Use of open educational resources, audiovisual learning management system, and the rest. I took some time to look at the performance of Babcock University within that big volume, State of University Education in Nigeria. What NEC normally does is, all of you submit your data on several variables, your mandate, teaching, research, community service, and the rest of them. And then there's a team in NUC that extracts, like distillation, extracts the commonalities among all the different elements. So what I found is that whereas the average rendition will be, lecture mode is predominating. When you look at that of Babcock outshines them all in all the parameters that are listed in the system-wide performance. So I'd like to congratulate you again and again, President and all members of Senate of this university, for the great things that you are doing. System-wide performance in research. We have this also listed, that research, yes, going on everywhere. We are marching on, but we can march on at a greater pace. Community service, yes, all universities carried out various community service activities to support the host communities. This includes public lectures, training, health care. And, you know, when I got here, when I went on this tour, and I saw your teaching hospital, I said to myself, Babcock na wow, Babcock na heleleo. And I tell you what, 2001, 22 years ago, when I assumed office as Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, I decided to rank Nigerian universities. And that happened to be the first ranking of universities in the whole of Africa, and we are still cited for that. I ran the universities, maybe I use the plural pronoun we, because that's NUC, which I was leading. We ran the universities on the basis of a sigma or aggregation of several indicators of metrics. So we got the best university, next, like that. And then we took the ranking by discipline. The best 10 universities in education, engineering, medicine, all of that. So Olabisi Onabanjo University was number 1 in 2001. Number 1. And when I came here and I saw the quality of your teaching hospital and all the other associated things, the College of Medicine and all of that. So I asked the Vice Chancellor, oh, the College of Medicine, the medical program in Olabisi Onabanjo University, well, it's still doing well, but our own here, not the best. Our own here, not the best. What about academic development? Academic development, about a third of the universities were granted approval to establish, that's in 2021, to establish new undergraduate and postgraduate programs in medicine, basic medical science, engineering, humanities, and the rest that I have here in the paper, which I'm sure you will get. Also fiscal development, things are moving on well, but things could move on better. System-wide challenges. There are challenges everywhere. Nowhere in the world do you not have challenges. For us here in Nigeria, the most prominent challenge, according to the reports from vice chancellors, is about funding. 86.4%, 86.48%. All the vice chancellors say, funding is a huge challenge. Some others talk about erosion, IT infrastructure, library development, having e-learning infrastructure, and the rest. So, when, like I said, I'm doing a gap analysis between what the central thing says, and maybe if you like division analysis, and what is happening here. I asked the vice chancellor funding of this university because I chaired 6 universities concurrently as either chair of council or chair board of trustees, and some of them are mission-based or faith-based institutions where they depend every month, go to the proprietor, give us money to pay salaries and all of that. So I asked the president, how much do you get from them every month? He said, just occasional, not necessarily every month, just some support. So I'm quite pleased that Babcock University is providing a model of funding where you entirely generate your revenue and spend your revenue so generated prudentially, religiously. It's like the story of the talent. Our Lord Jesus Christ, okay, well, you know the story. So, you that have not buried your talent, that you are investing your talent, God will keep rewarding you more and more. You will not be in lack. So let's look at the virtual reality bit. In the fuller paper, I've put on my IT cap and I've expanded much on the technical issue of virtual reality. But for this presentation version, I've just taken the virtual reality to be the future of university education. In 2018, NUC, through Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid, Baba Rashid, developed a blueprint for the rapid revitalization of university education in Nigeria. The terminal date of this plan is 2023. What do we envisage beyond 2023, beyond this year, say in the next 5 years, as virtual reality? In this lecture, I will share some of the proposed targets based on the gap analysis we conducted over the last 2 months. Fuller details have been finalized by the group I'm involved with. Let's start with access. The educational system, as we said, pyramidal in our case, you find a large number of pupils, primary school, students, secondary school, that's tapering. And by the time the secondary school products, SS3, they do the UTME, they are now knocking on the doors of universities. And Babcock University will say, no, we don't want more than we can chew. And that's going to bring a lot of quality. That means it's like a camel through the eye of the needle. Those that will gain entry into Babcock University must be among the best of the best. And that will translate to quality at the end of the day. So, in order to get better quality input, what I've found from some studies we conducted for UNICEF, for the federal government on basic education, you find that in most, if not all, of our public schools are grossly deficient in resourcing. You find children staying on the floor, roofs leaking, electricity, just don't think about that. Technology, just don't think about that. So they end up being poorly prepared to secondary. The secondary schools are also under-resourced. And you now come to the universities, so you are drawing, from a population of poorly ill-prepared products for the basic education system. And you want the university system to be good, that's going to be shortened down. That's going to be tall order. So my prescription for that virtual reality, that future, is that we should look beyond the universities to the primary and secondary schools in order to get better inputs into our universities. Of what use are weak, very weak primary and secondary school products for our universities. If we strengthen the foundation of Nigeria's education system through better quality primary and secondary schools, many of the quality challenges now being faced at the university level will cease to be. Operationally, what does this mean? It means getting all the out-of-school children to be in school. It means resourcing our primary and secondary schools to better deliver quality education. This includes engaging better quality teachers in the right numbers, paying them well, and exposing them to continuing professional development. It's only when we are sure of an improved basic education system put in place by such actors as local government, UBEC, our state governments that we can have some guarantee of improved inputs into the university system. I'm convinced that if by 2024, next year, the Lord carrying, Lord keeping us, such guarantees are gradually in place, in another 5 years, universities would begin to witness a stream of better quality inputs from the secondary system. So what targets can we set for university access in the next 5 years? Our strategic goal should be that in the next 5 years, access to university education for, I've qualified that too, suitably qualified candidates should increase annually by at least 15%. To make this happen, we should increase available spaces in our universities, especially through expanding the facilities in existing universities to take more than currently enrolled and employ more teachers and other staff to cope with the expanded capacity. Now let me take this opportunity to say that we are proud of JAM in its march to sanitize the admission process into higher institutions in Nigeria and encourage it to pursue its equal opportunity agenda with greater vigor. Before Professor Ilishan Remo came into office, JAM made some efforts at what we call inclusive education. Did you know that there are several candidates who are blind, who have disabilities, Down syndrome, autism and all that, that are not given a fair chance of getting into the universities and letting their potentials to flower? So what Professor Ilishan Remo did in 2017 was to set up what he called the JAM Equal Opportunity Group, which by God's grace I have the opportunity of chairing. So what do we do as a group? We conduct the UTME for all blind candidates all over Nigeria in 11 centers. So when the UTME is going on for post-night regular candidates, I'm all over the place, conducting the UTME. You will wonder, are we administering test items that are of lower quality than regular candidates? The answer is no. It's the same test items that are administered to irregular candidates that we administer to the blind candidates in our 11 centers. And did you know that their scores are better, largely better than the scores of the average students in the regular setting? And what is explanation? Explanation is a God, great God of heaven and earth is awesome. If you are deprived in one way, he has a way of strengthening you in another way. Yes, they are blind, they have visual handicaps, but they are strengthened, they are exceedingly brilliant people. And we also ensure that, well, since they have good scores, universities should be able to admit them. And happily, 5 years ago, 2017, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, we had about half of our candidates admitted into Nigerian universities. And the figure had remained between 40 and 50% admission rates. And we followed them up. And we found that, they are doing well in their universities. The University of Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, and a number of others that admit our students, Bayero University can confirm that many of these students at graduation, they made 2-1. So we'd like to encourage JAM to keep making this as inclusive as possible. What about the future of quality in our university system? Quality, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we should note is driven by a multiplicity of factors, including the curriculum, teacher quality and motivation, curriculum delivery, quality of governance, and quality of resourcing. Happily, the National Universities Commission now has in place, as mentioned by our President Chancellor, the core curriculum and minimum academic standards, CCMAS, with 30% indigenous content from each university to reflect institutional uniqueness. This will appear to address, at least in large part, the issue of curriculum up-to-dateness and relevance for the next 5 years. Now, this leaves us with several other quality variables which we should attend to with greater vigor in the next 5 years. These include improving teacher quality through training and capacity building. I note that in the ongoing national training on delivering the CCMAS in the online environment, that 2-month program is still running. It's going to close towards the end of the month. 2 of the 3 Babcock nominees of the President, Vice Chancellor are doing impressively well. These 2 are Sunday Idowu, whether professor or doctor, if you are here, I recognize you. Sunday Idowu and Gift into Wunka. They are doing us very, very proud. The third person, I don't know, disappeared into thin air. Congratulations to the 2 members of staff. The matter of improvement in quality through significant improvement in teacher motivation is another major factor. Let me give you the stark reality of a Nigerian professor. I've been a professor for about 32 years, although I'm retired now. Yes, 32 years. No professor in the Nigerian university system, at least the public, in the private sector, in the private university could be slightly lower, earns more than $588 per month by today's exchange rate, which is about $850 naira to $1. None. We have about 16,000 full professors in the Nigerian university system today. I have no doubt that we need to significantly increase the salaries and emoluments of all university staff. I have no doubt that the Tinubu administration will tackle this welfare issue so that university staff, teachers, and other staff who are among the best in the world can perform optimally. You know, when you are not able to see the farm of your neighbor or somebody else, you say, oh, your father's farm is the best or the worst. To tell you confidently, at this lecture, that the Nigerian academic, in the horizon where you have all the professors, let's say an assemblage of professors from all over Africa, where you assemble them, the Nigerian professor is always clearly the best. Clearly the best. So what data do I have? The data that I have is this. 6 years ago, the European Union and the African Union proposed to establish the Pan-African Quality Assurance and Accreditation Agency, equivalent of NUC at the regional level. Regional will mean Africa level. So the thing is, you read medicine in Babcock, you can get NUC or MDCN accreditation for your medical degree. You can say, oh, we want to get accreditation beyond Nigeria. So you can apply to that Pan-African Quality Assurance and Accreditation Agency and get accreditation. So the minimum standards established by NUC are different from the minimum standards established at the continental level. In fact, stiffer. So to make that happen, they say, okay, let's have a feasibility study. Is that feasible? Is that Pan-African Quality Assurance and Accreditation Agency feasible? So I was contracted to go everywhere. with a partner from Europe. So we went, to 45 African countries to survey their delivery of higher education. And everywhere I turned, I said, if not for infrastructure, if not for, you see, if you go to South Africa, you go to Wits, you go to Cape Town, they were established donkey years ago, you see heavy structures. But what I found is that the hood does not make the man. That's true. The hood does not make the monk. So you find that, yes, there's a Yoruba saying, pardon me, Ninu Kokodudu ni Ekofufun Jadi. That is, you see a park coming out white, nice, but from a darkened earthenware pot. So what I found, everywhere I turned, is that the Nigerian student, the Nigerian teacher, man for man, woman for woman, can easily outpace anyone, anywhere in Africa. So attend a conference, attend a regional conference, which I'll be organizing forever and a day. I've organized many more I can think about. Conferences for professors all over Africa. When the Nigerian professor stands up to talk, the earth will shake. They will, and when Nigerian students are anywhere, you find that we are highly endowed. Don't let me go too far. Go to Europe. When I was at UC, we got some facility from the American government to take vice chancellors to top-rate universities all over the US. So they will choose the universities, 12 of them. I'll go with 12 vice chancellors, we'll visit them. And when we meet with the president of the university, we want to meet with the Nigerian students in your university. Okay? They'll bring Nigerian students and the lecturers, the faculty of these students will tell us that what is the magic that people are doing in Nigeria that is making the students to shine. They are clearly the best within their different universities. So there was one university that I'm sure you know that what I'm saying is public knowledge. We went to one university and we said, okay, we want to see students. Then we said, okay, we want to see the Nigerian professors. We found that the president of that university was dilly-dallying. He said, what's up? We want to see Nigerian professors. So later we heard that he was afraid that we'll get these Nigerian professors back to Nigeria because his university will collapse. So that is how God has endowed us. But our endowment, we need to put into other use. So I've said here that I have no doubt that the Tinubu administration will tackle this welfare issue so that our university teachers and other staff, who are among the best in the world, can perform optimally. Tinubu did it before for us in last week when he was governor of Lagos State. He can do it again at the national level as president. So help him and all of us, God. Let us take research, which is a major deliverable of a university system. What does our virtual reality lens see about research? In the next 5 years, universities should be credited with providing at least 40% of the solutions to the grand challenges facing us as a nation, and also in tackling the obstacles to the attainment of the SDGs. What is the pathway to achieving this 40%? It is through strengthening the research capacities of our university staff, through in-country and international training experiences, better resourcing of research laboratories and workshops, and provision of sizable grants for quality research. If these enablers are not in place, Nigerians should not turn around to accuse the universities of not being responsive to the nation's needs through research. Still more targets on research. By 2028, at least 3 Nigerian universities should be among the top 200 in the world and among the top 5 in Africa. A blueprint for these targets was developed by the National Universities Commission in 2022, just last year, and some members of Babcock pivotal part of developing that blueprint. We will appear, of course, to implement the strategies for achieving them. President, Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in this lecture, I'm concluding now, we explored the progressive journey of the Nigerian university system from its early years through today, and we took a peep at the future. Addressing the potential hindrances highlighted requires collaborative efforts of various stakeholders, including government, university administrators, parents, teachers, students, and industry partners. By recognizing these challenges and working to overcome them, Nigerian universities can continue to leverage technology effectively and enhance the quality of education and research in the digital era. As we celebrate the achievements of our graduates who will be graduates on Sunday, July 30th, let us look to the future with optimism and determination. Thank you one and all, and congratulations to the second graduating class of 2023. May your journey be filled with success and purpose. Thank you.